What's up, Razorback fans? Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace, back for another episode of the Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag. You guys know the drill by now. You ask a question, Arkansas basketball related, and I answer it. And so here we are today with a funny one from our buddy Paul Rowland. He says, if Nelly Davis had to play with his left hand tied behind his back, would he still lead the SEC in scoring? And since the answer is yes, would it be close? That's funny, obviously, but we're going to take it a little bit of a different route. If he had his left hand tied behind his back, I don't think he would lead the SEC in scoring. Probably finish top 5 though. But listen, when the futures come out on Bet Saracen, I would probably recommend sprinkling on Nelly Davis as the SEC's leading scorer. I mean, why not? I think it makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, he averaged 18.2 points per game last season at FAU. But it's the efficiency that gets me. He shot 48.3% from the field, which is crazy for a guard who is a bulk shot taker. That's really, really efficient. 41.4% on 58 made threes. When was the last time the Razorbacks had somebody who did that? And then 85.7% on 154 free throw attempts. So he knocks it down the charity stripe and he gets to the line. I think he's going to be the dude on this Arkansas team, a go-to guy who's going to take a lot of shots. And when it's crunch time and they need a bucket, the ball is going to be in his hands to create. And he can absolutely do it. I mean, I've watched this dude cook many, many teams in the past, whether it's knocking down threes off the dribble. His mid-range pull-up game is absolutely lethal. It's going to rival any of the guys at Arkansas in the past. We think about, Jimmy Witt's mid-range game, Tremont Mark, whatever. He would be able to do that. And I don't know. I mean, I guess people could ask the question, well, would it translate from the AAC to the SEC? It's not always a given. I understand that, but I don't worry about the scoring production translating for Nelly Davis. Just look at the high majors or the strong programs that he faced last season. 15 on Butler in the Big East, 26 on Texas A&M, a dozen on Virginia Tech, 19 against Illinois. 35 on Arizona. That was the single most impressive individual performance I watched last year, and that includes a couple of doozies by Tremont Mark. What Nelly Davis did to Arizona that day was nothing short of incredible. He looked like an absolute pro. I think I tweeted after the game, he was the best guard in the country, and now he's a Razorback. But 30 on UAB, who was a tournament team, 20 on South Florida, who was a tournament team, 20 on Memphis, who beat Arkansas, 18 on Northwestern in the NCAA tournament. So it's not crazy at all to project Nelly Davis as the leading scorer in the SEC. I think he's going to score a ton of points. The question is who could challenge him or who could beat him out. And there are a lot of really good candidates in fairness in the SEC because, well, there are some bucket getters in the league. It's got to start with Mark Sears at Alabama for sure, right? I mean, he averaged 21.5 points per game last season for the Crimson Tide, and he's back. He's going to be a National Player of the Year candidate, quite honestly, probably a preseason All-American, and he can do it in a lot of ways. We know he's going to have the ultimate green light. There's no such thing as a bad shot in Alabama, unless it's a mid-range jumper, but he can get to the rack at his size and finish. He shoots a ton of free throws, can obviously knock down threes, and Nate Oates lets him let it fly. So he would definitely be one to watch there. Wade Taylor at Texas A&M, he averaged 19 per game last year. He's probably going to take 20 plus shots a night for Buzz Williams. He's not the most efficient in the world, but we know he can go out and get buckets. And what is this, his 4th year? Yeah, I guess it would be his 4th year now at Texas A&M. I don't know why anything would change this season. He's going to be a go-to guy for them. He'll definitely be in the mix. Josh Hubbard, I think, is one to keep an eye on. I mean, we're talking about, when you think about Mississippi State, you never really think about offense, do you? And that goes back to a number of coaches, but Chris Jans too, with the style they played a little bit faster last season, but Hubbard, little guard, man, but as a true freshman, averaged 17 points per game. That is not easy to do. And then he doesn't have to feed Tolu Smith every other possession down on the block anymore. So this is a Mississippi State team that might play a little bit faster, a little bit more in the open floor, which is a good thing for a guy like him. If he averaged 17 as a freshman, you wonder what kind of leap he could make as a sophomore. So he'll be in that mix too. and then probably Janai Broom, right? I mean, I think it's a little bit more difficult as a post player because you're reliant on your guards getting you the ball, or you get an offensive rebound and clean it up. But Janai Broom averaged 16.5 points per game at Auburn last year, and he's going to be a preseason All-American and a focal point of everything that Bruce Pearl is doing there. So he's going to get a ton of touches and a ton of looks there. So I think that's probably 4 or 5 guys off the top that could challenge there with Nelly Davis for that scoring title in the SEC. I wonder how close Nelly could get to those Mason Jones numbers, those JD Note numbers from a couple years ago. I think he's going to be more efficient than what Note was. Certainly. I hope so, because he was so darn good at FAU with that. Is there anybody on the current Razorback team that could maybe challenge him? I don't know that I necessarily see it unless Boogie or Carter Knox really blows up. I think double-digit scorer-wise, DJ Wagner. Now, if he makes that freshman to sophomore leap and kind of morphs into the guy maybe they thought he was going to be at Kentucky as a potential one-and-done lottery pick kind of candidate, then he could really score it, which would be an interesting dynamic because Arkansas is also going to be relying on him quite a bit to be a table setter and a distributor. Who else? I mean, I don't think Brazil would score that much. The post players, again, it's just relying on them getting the ball. So yeah, I don't know. I think Nelly Davis has got a real shot to do that. And I wonder where he comes in on some of those preseason lists. You'd rather him be on a postseason list, right? And win an actual award. But I almost guarantee you he'll be a preseason All-SEC from the coaches and media. But where does he rank in terms of a potential preseason All-American? I mean, you're talking about a really accomplished player. He's played in the Final Four, back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, big-time scorer, transferring to John Calipari in a marquee program. I could see him making a preseason All-American list. Maybe not first team right out of the gates, but I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. Either way, really excited about Nelly Davis and think he's going to be a fantastic player for Arkansas, and obviously appreciate the question, and keep them coming, folks. Like we say, we're trying to do one of these a day. Up until the college basketball season, we're off to a really good start, and we've got several more that we need to get to. So keep them coming. I've got a pinned Twitter post on my profile at @KurtWilkerson_. You can hop on and throw a question on there. Or if you see the opportunity to comment on one of these, whether it's, on X or on YouTube, or you want to hit me with a DM, do that. If you have a question, hit me up and I'd be happy to tackle it and give you an answer. But we're going to get out of here and we'll have another one of these fresh for you tomorrow. Make sure you get subscribed to our YouTube page at Inside Arkansas. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pod at the Palace. We'll see you again tomorrow.